woman on one of our episodes that said that a man gotta teach his woman accountability. You agree with that?
I totally do.
Oh, okay.
I teach my accountability all the time.
You don't teach. What would you?
Wait,
how do you
see,
teach me
she's offended.
accountability?
She's offended by
Like,
that
what do you
statement,
mean?
and that doesn't make you a child or anything. It's just it's a
All right, so what do I teach you?
I don't teach you accountability.
What do I teach you?
But why we gotta
You
go
teach
there?
him a lot.
Why we gotta go there?
I'm pretty sure he would admit that.
You taught me how to love.
Look,
don't
get involved.
And I try to be that. But look at me though. Look at how I say that. I say that with no.
Hey, so that's how it sound when y'all be all talking at the same time.
I say that with no look. You taught me how to love, and had no problem with that. The minute I said I'm teaching you accountability, she get offended. It's nothing to get offended about. This is what we're here for, to help each other.
And teach
I'm
each
telling
other,
you, yo, I tell her all the time. We were just on a trip. Am I going too far? We was Love and Hip Hop. We just came back from Jamaica, right? So shooting Love and Hip Family Reunion season 3, right? And I told her we're the only couple besides Jim Jones and Chrissy. Jim Jones came late though, right? And I said, you see why you in a lot of this turmoil on this trip? They get it on, wigs flying, everything.
You see why you not?
Why you not in none of this in any of this turmoil?
Yeah.
Because you have a significant other.
Yeah.
You have a man.
I can agree with that.
And yo, they full on wars. You hear me? Wars during the show. And I told her that it's a lot of absence of a man in these households these days.
Right.
And the women, they going crazy out here. They trying to get back. I keep hearing, we just been with y'all word decades ago. Like, what is that?
Yo, we just had
what are we really doing right now? And this is when I tell her relationships are over. If you're not in one right now, it's going to be hard for you to get in one.
Right.
Because we're looking for the wrong things in each other.
Not
you understand? I hear you, but I'm speaking for the majority.
Majority.
I'm watching, I'm looking, I see what's going on. We're looking for the wrong things, man. Nobody's taking time to really learn each other anymore. It's like, yo, damn, it's fucked up. I'm one date. You know what I mean? I don't like the way I don't like the way he. And it's like, nobody, what about what you like? What about what you like? Nobody's looking for what they like.
What you said?
No, I say he's not wrong in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, he said something about some men have to teach women accountability, and we are all looking for the wrong things in relationships. You guys thought about it. Let me get Shannon now. Answer off, please.
I think people are. Yeah, I told you I was doing business. I think people are just looking. Good, let somebody else go first. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's not somebody just.
Okay, let me go ahead and get Marcus in there because I know Marcus I missed. Let's get Marcus, Aisha, Ali.
All right. So, which question were you asking me? The same question to Shannon? A different question?
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. I just kind of summed up the video a little bit. Two key points he made was about him having to teach women accountability, and then he also mentioned that what we getting it wrong is that we're looking for all the wrong things in relationships.
I would argue that he probably might have some. So, did you see that little doll that was on the table that say "Groupie Slayer"?
Yeah.
I think she walked in there with a headless doll, and she kind of was bucking up at people. For me personally, that would not be an ideal scenario. I don't think my wife would carry a doll saying "Groupie Slayer" and be engaged in any love and hip hop type drama or fighting. But to his point about, do you see how you weren't involved in that because you have a man who's saying, "Hey, we're not going to get involved. I'm not going to do X, Y, Z." I respect that point, and I agree with that. Like, my wife don't be involved in no family drama, none of that shit. She like, hey, no, we not going to each other's significant other family and trying to talk slick about them to them or our own family. You know what I'm saying? We have anything we need to discuss, we'll discuss that amongst ourselves and get a solution with us. We're not bringing everybody else in. And I think on Love and Hip Hop and them type of shows, those people, because there is no clearly defined power dynamic within that relationship, then you try and co-opt other people to get on your side so you can feel more right. Like, he did this, y'all, listen to this. So those people can shame him so you can give the last word and be in charge or whatever, or vice versa. She did this, y'all. It's kind of weird to me for people to make that case about how women should act when you just need to interact with that woman to make her understand this. Hey, this is what I'm okay with. This is what I'm not okay with. If you're not okay with that, then you can leave. If you're okay with that, then we can roll. So like that whole bringing everybody else in your relationship for it to function properly, it's like a fool's errand. It's the exact opposite. It's like relationships thrive better when you don't put them on social media. They thrive better when you don't put people in your business. They thrive better when you don't exist in chaos and drama and all of that shit. And the clearest way for that shit to thrive is back to the power dynamic I was speaking of. Like when it's clear what's happening, what's going to remove all confusion. Confusion and not respecting the decisions of who you say you want to be with is probably 99% of the relationship problems. You remove that aspect out of the relationships and you got perfectly sailing relationships. Like the guys made a point earlier about if he make a mistake, do you still trust him? If you want to be in a relationship like that, you understand he's gonna do double to try and fix whatever mistake he made. He's not just gonna make a mistake and y'all fail and just keep falling and nothing else. You know what I'm saying? But that comes through to Aria's point. It comes through with trust, right? So I think that's the other aspect. For a healthy power dynamic to exist, trust has to be there. And I think his woman, no matter how she was acting, because he was okay with it, trust him enough to follow whatever example he was setting. It's just not the example I would say.
All right. I'm gonna go to Ali and then I'm gonna come to you, Aisha. Ali, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that it has to be a clear power dynamic when you are in relationships? How you feel about what Marcus said? And you can also comment on the video as well.
I do see what the men are saying, that there are a large group of women that do need to take more accountability, but I think it goes both ways, but I know that's not what these men want to hear. I think that same thing with Ari said, you have to have a mutual build of trust in order to be able to hear each other out, to have good conflict resolution. I think the core of the problem is that a lot of people these days just have shitty communication skills. They have problems being able to identify, they have low levels of emotional intelligence. They don't recognize what emotions they're feeling and then decide what it is and then make a decision of what to do thereafter. And I do agree with Marcus's point of you never bring other people outside into the relationship, especially in the entertainment industry, the love and hip hop stuff. Everybody's got an agenda on all these shows. So it's just like, I take those types of interviews specifically. Oh, we just came back from Love and Hip Hop. They're trying to advertise the show. They're trying to get you to watch it. Of course, they're going to say like, oh, we were the only couples that but you never know what happens behind closed doors. So I don't know, my take on accountability, point blank period, is it does go both ways. And I think there's major room for improvement on both ends. And it starts with better communication skills. And I'll land it there.
Okay. Let's get Aisha in there then, Dara.
I think that I agree with Ali. What I will say about the clip is that I still feel like they're filming Love and Hip Hop, because the way she yelled at him when he said, "It's my job to hold you accountable." I don't know if she's just had too much to drink. Really wasn't really feeling how she responded to that, but I agree with his sentiment, because in past relationships, I feel like it was the man's job to hold the woman accountable. Like I've been in relationships where I've gotten in the car and he's like, maybe you shouldn't have said that to your friend. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you shouldn't have did this. And I think it's about how we receive it, right? I think that we have to be willing as women to be able to receive those things from men, because it's so easy to kind of like spaz out how she did and start yelling rather than to really like receive information. That's really all I have on that clip. I'm really not a fan of Love and Hip Hop, so I don't know them.
It just seemed like a case of not being equally yoked, not having the same mindset about things, decorum, how to operate in front of other people if you got disagreements in other people, establishing a mutual protocol on how to step aside and address it without making a scene or making yourself look stupid or incompetent in front of other people. Also saw that the woman has her mindset is of the fact that it's a bad thing or it's taboo for someone to teach you something. And if I were him, I would pose the question to her that it's okay for the instructor at your college that's giving you a degree from an institution to teach you. But the man who lay beside you on your pillow every day, every night, to protect you from every bump in the night, it's taboo for me to teach you something. Like, I don't understand that. Why the man that's supposed to lay down his life for you can't teach you something? You get what I'm saying? Somebody who loves you and have your best interests at heart over anybody else in the world can't give you some type of education on something. Or it only makes sense that he would be able to see a flaw or something that you might need some improvement in, because he's the closest to you. He knows you more than anybody else can possibly know you. So it only makes sense for him to see a place where you can improve and start it. It would be bad that he's not teaching her. If she had an accountability issue, I would argue that it would be bad for him not to insert himself to want to be able to try to teach her or help her out or learn how to hold herself accountable. So I think that's a growing number of women kind of feel like that a man shouldn't be able to teach me nothing. And it's just this thought that he taught me. Like it's maybe giving him a sense of misogyny. So I think maybe speaking of that one day on these panels, we'll probably try to get an understanding of where that mindset came from. And I know everybody want to point to feminism, but I think it started before that movement. But yeah, I'll yield and let somebody else go.
I don't think that I want to be with a man that I can't learn anything from.
I know for me, like I said, I was married for 10 years before irreconcilable differences or whatever you call it. And not a single person in our orbit saw that coming. And the reason for that is that when we had disagreements, arguments, differences of opinion, that was discussed amongst ourselves. So not a single person was like, oh, good, or yeah, I figured, right? Everybody's like, what happened? And that's kind of, to me, how it should be. Because him bringing up her having a problem with accountability in front of others, a little disrespectful. Her yelling at him, definitely disrespectful in front of other people. Like that, yes, we should both want to learn from each other, and we can both teach each other things, and there's nothing wrong with learning from somebody. And to Aisha's point, I don't want to be with a person I can't learn things from either. But to have that conversation not only amongst others but also televised seems like you're probably not on solid ground as a partnership anyway.